All right, this video is going to serve as a little bit of a preview for the Ravens-Bills matchup in Week 4. I think I'm going to do this every week, try to put out a couple of formations where I show some data, explain the formation, explain how the Ravens are using the formation. I'm not going to show you every single play from this formation or the second one I'm going to show you. The reason I picked these is because neither one of them are balanced formations, okay, in terms of run pass. The first one is going to be called, I call it flex, and it doesn't matter the terminology. You may know it as doubles or double twins or spread, whatever. The circumstances are two receivers to the right-hand side of the offense and two receivers to the left. Now, in some cases, it's a tight end. This case, the Ravens are in 12 personnel. We got Andrews and Likely. That's awesome. We have tight ends that can be used interchangeably as a slot receiver. It's called a big slot. It's wonderful. As I introduce these every week, it's not important that you use the same terminology as me. That's not the reason I'm doing this. The reason I'm doing it is twofold. Number one, so I can put out some content on a Sunday morning, get some views up, hopefully give you guys some of the information that I spend time tracking and trying to organize. Number two, so that during the game when you see us line up in this, you know that it's a limited formation in terms of how we threaten. What we generally do out of this formation is we offer gap run schemes, QB counter read, or QB power read. QB counter read goes to the side of the running back. What I mean by that is if Lamar is to keep it, he would go in the opposite direction to where Justice Hill's path takes him generally. Now, the Dolphins open the back door here. Lamar recognizes it, so he runs through it. That's not exactly where he's designed to run it, but that's QB counter read. The second part of this is QB power read. This is the sticks blitz zero that the Dolphins ran against us for 2 years in a row. This is honestly our most successful play against it, if you ask me. Difference being the running back threatening on the vertical path, and now Lamar could possibly keep it and then run to the same side behind the pulling right guard, which is Kevin Zeitler. In this case, Lamar keeps it because Ingram makes a slight mistake, and he's played great this year, made very few mistakes. Those are basically the only two run schemes we're using out of flex. Now, you may say, well, that's incredibly limited. Well, it kind of is and it isn't. Most teams out of flex, when you're getting 7 guys in the box for the offense, the quarterback, the running back, and 5 linemen, they're going to run zone read. All the linemen going to work this way. Quarterback's going to read somebody. I know there's an extra defender out here. I'm ignoring him for the purposes of this discussion. Lamar may give it to the running back, depending on what that DN does, or he may keep it and then run in the opposite direction himself. Conceptually, this is the same thing. Well, conceptually, the QB counter read is the same thing. It's just using a gap scheme to accomplish it. This is slightly different because if Lamar kept it, he would run off tackle. Let's say Ingram ran upfield with Justice Hill. Then Lamar would keep it and run off tackle. That was his touchdown run. His 79-yard touchdown run was on a QB power read play. So you get the idea. The only run concepts we're running out of this, QB counter read, QB power read, out of a gap blocking scheme. So we're pulling some linemen, and we're either running Lamar to the same side of the running back as the running back or opposite where the running back goes. In this case, it's QB counter read, running back going this way, reading Judon. Lamar's going to keep it, go off this track, and then bounce it outside because Wise and I think number 30 do a pretty good job of filling. All right, so you get the idea. 18 plays overall out of flex. 18 plays overall, 5 runs. All of them are either QB counter read or QB power read. It's the concept column, the one that's not filled out for you for some reason. Then the rest of the plays out of flex, and I'll show that again in a moment, is pass plays. So when we line up in flex, defensively, you have a very limited number of things you have to stop. You have to try to stop QB counter read and QB power read. The problem is Lamar goes to different sides on those blocking schemes, and we have different linemen pulling. So, and it happens really fast, and Lamar's capable of bouncing it and going outside the scheme, so they say, when need be. All right, let's get to some of the pass plays, just so you can see, and I'm not going to show every single play. There's 18 plays here. I'm not going to show all of them. I'm just generally introducing the idea to you that while watching the game, if you see us line up in 2x2 flex, you can understand, all right, I'm probably looking at the running back crossing Lamar's face, and Lamar either keeping it and going to the same side, QB power read, or keeping it and going the other side, QB counter read behind 2 pulling linemen. Okay, so if you want to, when we line up in this formation, you can watch the back, or if you would like to, you could watch the line and see if you get, back blocks by those guys, pull by the right guard, right tackle, QB counter read. Or if you get down blocks, back blocks by these guys, and the left guard pulling, QB power read. And you'll get the end zone angle. If that doesn't make sense to you, my apologies. I know I'm talking fast. I'm recording this late at night. I'll try to get some content out there. Or, as this is going to show you here, you might get a pass play. If none of those things happen, no lineman pull, the running back doesn't cross Lamar's face. So what I mean by cross his face is Justice Hill. I'm not going to talk about whether he's blocking well or not. I'm trying to give you an opportunity to watch the game a little bit like a coach might. Not that the way you're watching the game is wrong at all. I'm just trying to give you some intel, some data, some pre-snap indicators for you based on the formation and the situation, what might be coming. Motion by likely, sticks blitz 0, ineffective plays if you ask me. We have not ran, I think that's the only time that we've ran motion at a flex being 2x2. So kind of gives you a pre-snap indicator if you're the defense of what the play is. Almost a pick six here, I believe, to the left side to Xavier Howard. I'll show you one more play after this. You get the point. 18 plays out of flex, 5 gap scheme run plays where Lamar is reading something, and then 13 pass plays, that have various levels of effectiveness. We're in 21 personnel here, so Ricard is one of our slots. I'm guessing he's going to go in motion and probably block off the edge, which is usually what he does when he lines up out there. And we get a big gain to Andrews in the right flat. All right. Flex. Unbalanced formation in terms of run pass. Unbalanced formation in terms of everything that we're offering the defense and forcing them to stop. But having said that, we've only played 3 games. So my data is a small sample size, 18 plays. If we get to 55 plays and we're only running 2 run schemes and then a very limited pass game out of that, then you can kind of say, okay, this formation is a little limited. What's the overall point? As you get more data as a defensive coordinator and a defensive staff, so I'm talking about for the Bills at this point, week 4 as it is, the formations become easier to stop the further along you go in the season. It's possible that might be the reason why our offense had reduced effectiveness last year the further we went into the season. Now, we know that's actually a surface level or simplistic observation or evaluation by me. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. We know that Lamar's injury had a huge impact. No J.K. Dobbins, no Gus. Offensive line, incredibly limited. Bottom 10, bottom 8 offensive line in the league overall would be my summation. So I think that while there was some predictability, and you get decreased efficiency, decreased effectiveness, the more that you're predictable as the season goes on. If you got 3 games of data and you're the Bills defensive coordinator, you might not hedge all your bets on stopping a certain play, certain concept. If you have 13 games of data and it's week 14 or week 15 as it may, you can hedge your bets because you're like, okay, I've seen enough. This data fits with 2021. I'm going to go ahead and stop QB counter read, QB power read, and make them throw the ball out of flex. All right, let's talk about a separate formation that is also unbalanced. And you may think this is a criticism. This is not. I'm offering to you up front, this is a small sample size. This is limited data through 3 games, all right? But I'm showing you how people break down the data and then how they use the data and, the player matchups, the scheme, etc., to try to determine what they do and what they're going to stop. Second formation I want to talk about, slot I. I think I've only got 8 plays, so even smaller sample size, and 7 of them are runs. But actually, the 8th one ended up being a scramble, and it's kind of like what I call a cheat play. So let me load those plays up and then get to them. I'm going to show you the lone pass concept first. Sometimes it's under center, sometimes it's pistol. So why do I call it slot? Because you have one receiver and then a slot tight end, and they're close together, right? If you had, the X receiver further outside the bottom of the numbers, and then Oliver, the slot or tight end here, I would call that twin because they're further outside, apexed from the right tackle. But as it is, they're very close to the right tackle. We would call it slot. We're under center, so we call it slot ram if you are wondering about the data. It's a cheat play, and this outside linebacker does a great job, blows up Patrick Ricard, And, we end up getting a gain by Lamar, where we probably shouldn't have. Why do I call it cheat? Because the running back and the quarterback are running to the same side behind the flowing fullback. So it's full flow. You should get the running back wide open in the flats. It's a 2nd and 10. In this case, you do not, because the outside linebacker blows up Ricard, or inside linebacker blows up Ricard. Drake runs into him, and Lamar has no choice but to scramble. Not really here to break down the plays for you, just here to show you the data, let you just have some awareness of the difference between flex, which is obvious, right? You'd have a receiver here, a tight end on the line, a receiver off, and another receiver further out wide. Lamar would be in the gun with a running back to his right or to his left. That's flex, or some people call it doubles, double twins. Slot I again. Toss, which has been an ineffective play for us this year. We had 2 nice runs, or maybe 1 nice run in the preseason on this concept against Arizona, I think. 1 against Tennessee, and then Arizona shut it down. So mostly runs out of slot. Well, it makes sense, right? We're under center. We run some stretch stuff out of it here. Don't really get much out of it. You can see the defense is countering with an 8-man front. Well, why are they doing that? Because they recognize that it is generally run. We need to get into some play-action pass stuff. We have done play-action pass under center, but it's not this formation. Usually when we go play-action pass under center, the fullback, Ricard, is lined up as a tight end with his feet like further closer to the tackle. So that's kind of even a giveaway there. I can show you that formation later this week if you wish. If you guys don't like this video, let me know in the comment section. These don't generally tend up being really high views for these type videos, but I'm going to try to do this every Sunday morning to just show you some formations. Maybe I'll do some during the week, but I don't feel like I can show 3 or 4 or 5. I feel like the breakdown would get a little bit overwhelming. All right. So the point of the overall thing is to show you the 2 formations, flex and then slot I. And this is obviously pistol. We would call this lion and ram. Lion means fullback to the left, quarterback in the pistol. Ram means fullback to the right, quarterback in the pistol. You may have your own terminology that you're familiar with, or Madden or whatever. It's just a way to quickly delineate the formation, and at the point at such that we're playing a team that has predictability, that is predictable like this, we would understand the tendencies, and we will be selling out to stop certain tendencies. In this case, we'd be selling out to stop the run because it's a run formation. Let a couple more plays run. Well, I'll just give you a little bit more intel. We are generally, when we're under center and it's 2 back, we are run, like 2 back here, tailback, fullback. Generally, when we're under center and it's 1 back, we are pass. So I wanted to key you guys in on that. Let you know that defenses will be aware of that. Defenses will start to sell out to stop certain concepts when you give them significant data that provides them a need to stop the run on certain downs, certain formations, and stop the pass in certain others. That's the way it works. That's the way data works. That's the way tendencies work, and that's the way film study works for coaches and players. If you guys appreciate this data, let me know in the comment section. Slot I, generally under center, some pistol, overwhelmingly run, 7 out of 8. I think that's 87.5%. So when you see that today against the Bills, you can expect them to respond with an 8-man front, maybe roll with safety up, maybe bring a run blitz, depending on where they think the run's going to go. Flex, even though it seems predictable, quote unquote, it seems limited, is actually going to be a pain in the butt for anyone to defend, because Lamar threatens to either side, sometimes to the same side as the back, sometimes it's the opposite side to where he lines up, and then sometimes it's a pass play. So even though I called it limited and predictable, I think it's still difficult for people to stop. Look at what teams did, the NFC East teams particularly in 2020, when we lined up in flex and we were running QB power read and QB counter read or bash. Lamar scored against every single NFC East team on those concepts. They would line up, they would put 7 in the box and play cover 0, straight man, because our weapons in 2020 were nowhere near what our weapons are now with Duvernay, Bateman, Andrews, and even Isaiah Likely and Demarcus Robinson. Way superior weapons, not even close, not even up for discussion. Our weapons are at an incredibly different level in terms of the plays they can make downfield, the plays they can make when covered well. So some of those things that people did in 2020, which didn't work, I offer you they certainly can't do now. So Let me know what you guys think of the video, the conceptual idea showing you some formations. I know some of you would probably rather hear about more formations than just two. I thought it was the simplest way to give you good intel to look for during the game, and then maybe give me an easy manner of discussing things with you guys in the videos that I do during the ensuing week, hopefully after a win, and the reaction video from Sunday night. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section.